everybody. It's just wonderful to see you here. And Priti and I are delighted to be your hosts at this party. It's particularly extraordinary that it is actually 3 years ago to the very day, the 24th of August 2018, that we actually had our very first event. So it's most appropriate that we are meeting on this day to have our party. So thank you so much for joining us. And as so many of us have been saying, it's just wonderful to see so many of you and to be reconnecting all of those members who've been on this journey with us.
So, welcome everybody. It is so good to see you. We're delighted to have everyone here today, and we'd like to go right ahead and welcome everyone. Enjoy your day.
So let us start with our song.
It's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time to tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. It's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time to tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. Come, let's sit together. Stories we will share. No matter what the distance, though we are here and you are there, stories will connect us once they have begun. As we watch and listen, together we are one. Oh, it's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time to tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. It's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time to tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. Oh, the world of story comes alive as it is told, and a story's wisdom is worth much more than gold. Stories have the power to delight and surprise. They move us and inspire us as we clearly visualize. It's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time will tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. It's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time will tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. It's a feast, it's a fest, story celebration. Time will tell you stories that are distinctly Asian.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yay! What a catchy tune. And this, we have to say thank you to Sabesh for this lovely, lovely tune. And of course, to his wonderful wife, who is a member of Feast, Janki. Husbands can be so useful sometimes, right?
As I said, it's 3 years ago to the day that we actually had our first event.
So I was not there at that first meeting. I joined Feast for the first conference, and Jiva was there at that meeting. So, Jiva, please tell us, how did it all start?
Nobody was there in our first meeting. Hello. it was Sheila, Roger, and myself. I was like, everybody around the world are doing lots of things. Why we Asians are not doing anything? I could only cry. I can't do anything else. But Roger said, we'll do it. So it was Roger who said, yes, we'll take this forward. And it started building. And the following year, we met in Thailand. Everybody from Asia and from outside, everybody there. So we had a nice round table and we started discussing feast. Obviously, feast on the table. And, people started saying, and very encouraging everybody, because we had people from NSN, we had people like Giovanna from Italy, we had we had, who else did we have? We had Jeff, we had lots of people, so everybody was contributing. And everybody said, yes, we shall do it. But what can we name it? How shall we name it? Asia, food, feast, said Giovanna. Because her organization, that's in Italy, or the European counterpart, is fest. So she said, add an EA to it and make it feast. It goes so well with the Asian tradition. Yes. So feast, you said, yes. But then we have to have a bang, bang start. How shall we do it? I was very fortunate because in my hometown, Chennai, when I ran the festival under the Alamaram, I had global tellers. I had my queen of storytelling, I can say, Diane Falat. And there were lots of other wonderful storytellers. And of course, Roger, Sheila, and I was also there. I said, Roger, yeah, Sheila, you were not there. No, you were not there. You're not there. I don't remember. Anyway, it's okay. 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So we said, this is the time. Let's do it. And so I met my publisher. I said, Radhika, which is Tulika Publishers, can we have a feast inauguration here? She said, of course, yes. Because there were books. So there were authors. There were translators. There were publishers, illustrators, all under one roof. So what more to make feast a better place to inaugurate? So we said, yes, we shall have it there. And so we all got together and we had a lovely evening.
1, 2, 3. Welcome to the feast!
Of course, it was very emotional for all of us. It's just like delivering your baby. So it's like that. And Roger made such a wonderful speech. He spoke so well. And then we had Diane share a story. Oh, we just split our sides. Can't imagine how funny it was. It was about her visit to the beauty parlor because she had received a coupon. And the stories, I should say, oh my goodness, not only were we laughing, she was also laughing so much. So we started our feast with such a high note. But of course, we didn't know that after 3 years, when we want to run a virtual festival, we're going to involve so many heads, so many streams, so many languages, so many. When everybody shrugged and said, COVID, it was the rising thing for feast. We reached globally, and you can see for yourself, we have global visitors today to join us at our 3rd birthday. I think it's time up, right, Roger?
Very good, very good, very good.
Thank you.
The thing is that most of us, I mean, a lot of us, I would say, found feast with the conference and with what happened at the conference. I know I did, and so my memories of feast begin with the conferences, and I'm sure they do for everyone else as well. Singapore and then Bangalore. So I'm going to request Sheila to talk about how the conferences are such an important part of feast and why we believe that it is what the cornerstone of how feast has begun and how we operate and how it is such an integral part of this wonderful organization.
Thank you, Priti. Yes, when we first started envisioning Feast, we saw the conference as the core because one, it's an Asian organization. Now it's kind of a global organization. We never expected that. And so obviously a lot was going to be online, but that was never enough. And this was pre-COVID. So we decided that every year we would have a conference, and that conference would be linked to an existing storytelling festival. And we decided that we would, straight after our launch in August, I don't know, we decided we would run a conference in November. What made us imagine we could run an international conference in 3 months? I don't know, but we did it. we couldn't have an open call because it was just not enough time. So we just pulled all our friends, all our storytellers that we worked with for years, said, you're doing a workshop. And we put together this workshop. We pulled all our friends, all our family. My entire family was there working. I had my friends were putting up the storytellers. We just came together in the Singapore community, and we're very thankful of our Singapore community of storytellers that we were able to put together this conference in Singapore so quickly. And it really was a wonderful experience. The workshops were very good. But beyond that, it was the meeting and the mixing and the experiences. I will never forget our opening dinner, and not because the restaurant forgot to make the vegetarian food. And we had to send our lovely Linda Sharma's husband out to his favorite restaurant to come by with vegetarian food. And he came back within half an hour or so, not only with the food, but with a waiter as well, which I thought was terribly impressive. But it was just such a joy to meet people that you'd only seen on, on the net, that perhaps you'd only corresponded with, you'd only been Facebook friends with, as well as reconnecting with old friends who had worked together for years. It was really, really wonderful. And what I really liked about that conference as well was the fact that we devoted half a day to having a world cafe with our storytelling, our members, to really try and set the direction of Feast. And I think that was very valuable for us. It gave us a path forward. And then the next year, of course, we decided to get more ambitious. We decided to do it, in India, in Bangalore, with our wonderful friends at the Bangalore Society of Storytellers. And that was such an experience. We discovered it's not so easy to do things over 2 countries, but we worked out our problems. And I think for me, and I think for a lot of people here who were at that conference, it was a kind of a watershed, particularly for the Indian storytellers. A lot of people have told me that they got to meet other Indian storytellers from other cities for the first time. And I do know that many collaborations and many deep friendships have grown out of that. So that was wonderful. Of course, we in 2020, we were supposed to be in Jakarta. And we got quite far into the planning. Everything was going fabulous. We were going to have the conference in Jakarta, and we were going to have a retreat in Yogyakarta. But then the dreaded COVID struck. And we hoped we could have it this year. But again, it's not possible. But Aryo, if you're still there, and our Indonesian friends, we make you a promise, we will be in Indonesia as soon as we possibly can. Because I would like all you storytellers to see the wonders that Ayo Dongeng has created in Indonesia. And I'm just very grateful for all the people who have helped. We've put many of these conferences together on a wing and a prayer. We're getting better at it. But it's the energy and the volunteers that have done it. And I just want to say a big thank you.
Thanks, Sheila. Thank you.
We couldn't have done it without them. So now I'd like to call upon Ritu Parna Ghosh, because if you remember, Ritu has done a webinar for us. And the next thing that we're going to talk about is how important our webinars are to us.
Thank you so much, and happy birthday, Feast.
Happy birthday, Ritu.
Thank you so much.
Are you 3 years old as well, Ritu?
I'd love to believe that I'm 3 years old. I'm Feast's twin, or so I believe on in these days, because all I'm doing is talking about Feast and thinking about Feast, and little reminders coming here and there, and little emails going here and there. Thank you so much for the lovely wishes. Sometime last year, Roger, Sheila, they wrote to me saying that would you like to do a webinar for Feast? And I said, all right, what can I do a webinar on? And because I had attended some of the webinars, and I found everyone who's coming to talk to us is really accomplished. They have so much of wisdom, so much of experience, so much of knowledge. What is it that I can offer? And why me? And why me got answered a little later, because I had to find a way to fit in with the big names out there. And I felt, okay, let's try and do something which I'm doing right now, which is podcasting. And let me try and bring that on as a webinar for other storytellers. So thank you, Sheila, for backing it up, Roger, for taking it so enthusiastically. I think the whole idea of putting a new webinar on podcasting for storytellers out there was a wonderful opportunity, because it got so many of you to get so excited about the whole idea of a podcast. For the ones who attended the webinar and the ones who came back, joining hands, we had our first season of Story Walk. And in the last 6 months, we are 6 months old. In case is there anyone out here who hasn't heard the podcast yet? I hope there isn't anyone who hasn't heard the podcast, because if you haven't, then I'm going to be really, 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 really angry about it. Yes, Annabelle, thank you so much for listening to Story Walk. So 6 of us have put our minds and hearts into it, and we've been producing Story Walk, and it's been extremely rewarding that how a webinar could energize everyone to come together to do a podcast. But not just that, I think every webinar is trying to do that, to bring on a conversation amongst the storytellers in the fraternity, to come together to talk and carry forward that learning, because a storyteller's job is very, very lonely at the end of the day. We rely on human contact, and in the day of virtual storytelling that we all are doing, I think it's wonderful that if a webinar can lead on to a special interest group which can come together and talk, ideate, and create magic out of a collaboration, because that's what I think has been the biggest learning for me as a storyteller. I was longing to be part of a community of storytellers, and Feast became that. And how wonderfully that we found the right takers to come together for something like Feast India chapter, which is another special interest group, which I'm extremely proud of, and as well the podcasting group. Now we are growing our podcasters, producers, and there are so many who've just joined in, the new bunch of producers, and we're excited at the next season and what it brings for everyone. So I would really like to tell this to everyone, that please make room for the Feast webinars in your calendar. Come, join, and you will be surprised how much value you're taking away. And you never know, you may find a new passion or a new interest or focus that has been overlooked for now.
Thank you, Ritu.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So now we have 10 people. We started with 6, and we have now 10 people who are, taking season 2 of the podcast forward. So, well, it's really important to understand this, because Feast started off its webinars to serve a community of storytellers. We wanted to make sure that our storytellers were all about growth, about learning, and Asia per se had very little training and learning in, as widespread the way it is. If this was a wonderful way to get international tellers, famous and renowned, and not even some of them, not even so renowned, but brilliant people, to come and give us what they knew, so that we could change, grow, and improve and become better for it. And I'm going to invite Kiran Shah, who is one member from the beginning, who has been a very, very faithful, how should I say, follower of all the webinars. And everyone knows Kiran. She's a very well-known storyteller. She's a brilliant storyteller. I'm a fan. And and even she attends almost all, if I'm not sure. Kiran, is it all? You would know. All the webinars.
Practically. But what I wanted to say is, first of all, I'll say happy birthday to Ritu, who shares a birthday with my husband. So, on a personal note, we will remember each other's birthdays. And happy birthday, Feast, and a great shout out to all the hard work that goes behind the scenes to make it possible for us, for the story walk, for the webinars, for the swaps. And I know how hard it must be. So big shout out. We have Jiva, Krupa, Sheila, and Roger. And without them, I don't think we would have the way it has grown, because not only have they spearheaded this, but they've also nurtured others so that they can carry on. And I think this is so important, that we have, shall we say, a younger generation who can take on more and more, because A, you have the energy, B, you have the technological skills that I certainly don't have. And here in Australia, on a personal note, the webinars and the swaps have been really a lifesaver, because I do feel quite isolated here. On a professional note, I find that every webinar is so different. Every webinar has so many gems, and all of us at a different stage in our storytelling careers, and we will find different gems. And I think that's the beauty of opening yourself up to these gems that have been offered. And I think I can say that I've practically maybe missed one, perhaps, in all these years, because and earlier on I used to be like one of the first ones to sign up. Sheila will testify to that. And so I just want to thank Feast for what it has given me here in Australia. And it's so nice to have that connection. I think for me, the connection is so important. And I'm glad that we've got the Australian Storytelling Guild on board as well. So I'm happy to be the connector.
Sheila was saying right at the start how chaotic it had been, or how much we took on, right at the very beginning. But at the same time as doing that, we were also working on our first book. I mean, just crazy. But again, this is something that we have taken to heart as, part of our mission statement is that we want to share Asian stories with a wider audience, the global audience. And so we're looking forward to the fact that come the fest, we will launch our fourth book. But the wonderful thing about publishing our own book is that we've been able to give members the chance to try, perhaps, or a number of them, being an author for the first time, seeing their words in print. I've asked Alicia just to speak, because I know she's had a couple of stories in our books. Thank you for joining us, Alicia.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, and happy 30th birthday, Feast. So I got it. This is my memory. And then I would like to say the note. Do you see that? Okay. I love. 사랑합니다. 감사합니다. Love you. Thank you. Feast. With all my heart. I'm so happy for you. You have given so much joy to the world by sharing so many wonderful stories from Asia. Asian storytellers actually have many unique stories to tell, but it's not always easy for them to find a platform that can showcase their talent. But Feast has done an excellent job in providing their platform and giving Asian storytellers a louder voice in the whole wide world of storytelling. So also, as the president of Korean International Storytellers Association, I'm really very proud to be Feast members and honored to have the opportunity to share Korean focus with the world. So one of my missions as a storyteller is to introduce Korean focus and Korean culture to the world. So I am grateful that Feast gives me the platform and allows many organizations such as KISA and cooperate with its members. And I will continue to do my best to make a feast even more special. Happy birthday and much love from South Korea.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you.
Let me talk about two members who sent in their statements. They really, really, really wanted to be here, but they were not able to. And one of them is Shivani. Shivani Kanodia is one of our members from a long time. And this is what she says. My most memorable memory of Feast is of the annual conference at Bangalore. It was the first time when I met so many other fellow tellers and a community that I could call my own, a cohort to which I could belong. So thank you, Shivani. You've said it. We all feel exactly the same way. Sui Yan, who is the president of the SAS, that's the Storytelling Association Singapore, has sent in her message as well. So this is what Sui Yan says. Time passes by. Thank you to the founding tellers who are visionaries and who have seen the future of storytelling in Asia. There is certainly more awareness of storytelling in Asia now, and Feast is a big part of it. Every time I come to a workshop, I meet new people. Feast is become an important gathering place for us and all storytellers from different parts of the world. I wish Feast continued success, and we will grow with you. Thank you, Swian. We will grow with you because that is what Feast is all about. Our next member is here, and that is one of my favorite tellers. I mean, how can I say this? I say this always, right? You guys would think I'm so, you're my favorite. The thing is, I'm spoiled for choice. We have so many brilliant members that honestly, it's difficult to say, but I'm allowed to have more favorites. So, the next member whom I'd like to give, like to invite to give a personal statement is Rona Mintari. What do I talk about Runa? She's been telling stories since she was 12 years old, and I love her sweet voice and her ukulele, and I absolutely am mesmerized whenever she opens her mouth.
I'm here, Preeti. I cannot stop smiling since the beginning. Happy birthday for Feast. I want to share a little story. So back in 1990 something, when I was in kindergarten, I was a timid child. I didn't have many friends. I was afraid to speak. But when my teacher started to tell me stories, I was beyond happy. It sparked something in me. I was very excited, and then I retold that story that my teacher shared to me to my mother, who had been my best listener. My parents, my family, my teachers are very supportive, and since that time, I fell in love with stories. I wasn't afraid to speak anymore. My confidence started to grow. And some years later, to my surprise, I found myself travel around the country in Indonesia to tell stories. So I realized that my storytelling journey until now is not just because I can tell stories, but also because of the people around me. My mom, who had been my best listener since the beginning, my family, my friends, my community, who's very supportive. And that's also what I got from this community since the beginning. So with the support of the people in this community, I'm expanding myself into international stage of storytelling and found this as a very supportive community to me. I feel the spirit of Asia, who always bring togetherness in community. I always feel welcomed and feels like this is a family. I remember in 2018, in 398.2 Storytelling Festival in Singapore, that was my very first paid international storytelling gig, which is for me a very important step in my storytelling journey. And yeah, the seniors are very supportive and generous. I can call them whenever I want, and they will happily help me practicing my storytelling skill. And the webinars is very insightful. I'm very happy that I'm still counted as a young storyteller member, which gave me many benefits, many free class. So yes, in this third year of Feast, I hope there will be more Rona in Feast, more storytellers join, especially more young storytellers. And then I'm looking forward to do more Feast on the Feast in the future.
Wow.
Yay.
Thank you, Rona. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have to say, I am very impressed that you can remember that it is the 398.2 Storytelling Festival. You actually got those numbers in the right sequence. That is a very good thing. And certainly, as Sheila mentioned right at the start, this was deliberate on our part, that we wanted to twin the conference with a storytelling festival. Partly because, just as Rona did, she got her first chance to appear in an international festival, which is always a great thing to have on your CV, isn't it? But also it's an opportunity for the local storytellers to meet with and perform alongside the visiting international tellers. There's another teller who also, I think, has had opportunities to showcase her skills. Ansuk Kim, also in Korea. Suk Kim, are you there? See you.
Hi. 안녕하세요. 김한숙입니다. 안숙 김. I am still very shy. I am a good listener, but one thing I want to say, through Korean International Storytelling Association, KISA, and Alicia, I could go to first Feast conference in Singapore, and that was my initiation as a storyteller. Or before, I was just, I didn't think I am a storyteller or I could contact to the world through stories. But that experience to visit Singapore with my storyteller friends was just for me opening the new world. It was a window to me to just through to the storytelling communities and the storytellers' way. So I really thank you for Feast and all you members, and you just encourage me and help me to be a storyteller. So as a Korean, as a KISA member, from now on, I want to contribute as a Feast member to grow Feast to really big world storytelling community. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you haven't seen, we did this a multilingual version of a Marguerite MacDonald story, the Balinese folktale of Gecko's Complaint, or Gecko Can't Sleep. She was wonderful as the firefly in that story, and also when we did our first appearance for the NSN conference back in 2020, and so told a wonderful story from Korea about a wife and a rather hungry tiger. It was absolutely sensational. So again, I think it's been one of the joys for us just to see the sheer diversity of membership that Feast has managed to attract to itself. And speaking of which, it's now my pleasure. Ario, I'm going to put you on the spot. I didn't know that you were actually going to be able to join us. But Ario, as a founding member, he was there both at the very first Hot and Sweaty session in 2017, and then also when a group of us stayed on for an extra day in 2018 to try and thrash out our objectives.
Yes. Well, you got me surprised with giving me the spotlight.
Well, very good. But,
firstly,
just think about what you thought, and how far we've managed to get. Perhaps what surprised you.
Firstly, when I heard about Feast is going to happen at the very beginning. So I just like grab my passport and then booking a flight and then go to Thailand. I thought it was in Bangkok, but it's quite far from Bangkok. And then that was the first time for feast because I'm so happy about feast. I took a motor taxi in Thailand without knowing the language, just the Tarzan language, sign language, and then took a old bus from Bangkok to different town, and then walking for 1 hour, and then took another motorbike, a motor taxi, to reach the hotel, which nobody ever heard about that in that city. So when I arrived, it's very happy to meet Prasong finally, and then all the members, and then I'm so happy that finally we have a community, a family to gather us in storytelling. So yes, it's a really big appreciation for the directors, Sheila, Jiva, Rogers, Krupa, for all the hard works you've been done. Now he's got a lot of family members, and happy birthday for Feast. And we're waiting for all of you in Indonesia sometimes in the next year.
We hope so. We hope so. We think that'll be really exciting to come to Indonesia. And I have one message here that was somebody sent in a video.
Feast means to me? I'll tell you what feast means to me. They had me fooled. Yeah! They told me it's just another storytelling community. We put our faces and bios on their website, like a storyteller's Facebook. Oh, no, 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 no. Feast gave me a platform to study further about storytelling in a fun way. Woo! What else? They also turned my idols into teachers. Ooh. And also, they give me a lot of friends from all over the world. I feel less lonely. And also, I can tell stories from Indonesia to a wider audience, to every corner of the world. Yay! So there, you have it. That's what feast means to me. Ha! My name is Bie. I'm a newbie storyteller from Indonesia. And you know me from my glasses, but I just lost my glasses, so there you go. I'm so sorry I can't be there tonight, but I really hope that Feast continues to give space and platform for Asian storytellers to explore, to expand, and to engage. So thank you so much, Feast, and happy birthday!
She says she's a beginning storyteller, but we actually featured her in our recent performance showcase for the National Storytelling Network, is it? In America. And for Bee to be telling a personal story as a young Muslim woman, as we explored the idea of division and divide, and the fact that she is being beamed and beaming, as she does, into the heart of America, I thought was just truly sensational. Another member who was part of that showcase, unsocially distanced, was Lavanya, who is joining us from Bangalore, I hope.
Okay, when Roger asked, tell us about how you have experienced feasts. The first thing that came to my mind was, luckily, I was one among the storytellers who had experienced feast right from its inception. And I should definitely say that it has, in these 3 years, it has just made me personally see outside the bubble that I thought I was in, and how many interactions and how many beautiful things that we came to know because of feast. The next important thing that I should definitely mention here is the interactions that we had with feast to bringing, to having a feast in Bangalore. My God, that was amazing. Right from the meticulous planning that every day Roger, Sheila, and Kripa would just give us, type to us and say, do this, do that, do that. We want to do that. We want to do this. And when it all culminated in the fest there, it was mind blowing for us, because that is where we met, like Sheila said, the innumerable tellers in India. And definitely, Sheila, just like what you said, it has led to great friendship between Indian tellers and international tellers. And that has given rise to such lovely collaborations. I even think that, that part where we all met in Bengaluru gave rise to the idea of bringing in all the Indian tellers together and starting a chapter. So very, truly grateful for that particular thing which happened. And yes, now for this Feast Fest, we are more than happy and excited to have 14 tellers from India collaborating to bring in, the great epic Ramayana. We're very thrilled, super thrilled. It is ambitious, but we are learning so much. And I should say the amount of support that we are getting from all our feast directors, and the way they interact with us, the way they give us suggestions to improve ourselves, it's mind blowing. Not only that, we also have another segment called Spooktacular Tales. So we are bringing in wild tales of the macabre, ghostly, ghastly tales from India, and it is the interaction happens almost every week, and every day whenever we meet with each other, every other person that we meet is saying, oh, you know what, I have a feast meeting at 8 o'clock, I have a feast meeting at 3 o'clock, I have a feast meeting is at 2 o'clock. And when we meet in the night, we say that, okay, we saw you in the morning, we saw you in the afternoon, and now we are seeing you in the evening. So that is the kind of interaction that is happening between us, and it has brought us so close together as a community. A very big thanks to Feast for that. I don't know, I'm out of words. It's gratitude. I'm wishing wonderful interactions to happen between storytellers, and I know that as Feast you would be able to help us grow in every way possible. So a very big thanks from all the Indian tellers. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lavanya.
Thank you so much, Lavanya. It's so it's wonderful to see you here with us, and I remember meeting you at the first conference as well, and I remember your earrings and the way you dangle them. So can you imagine the things we remember about the people that you meet for the first time? When BA and Rona spoke about, and even Ansuk spoke about Korea, it just reminds me so much of how important language is, and even so how it is to feast. Yes, we all communicate in English. Yes, English is the language that brings us together and binds us. But it's all the multilingual diversity in Feast that actually brings all of the color and the joy and the fun to Feast. It's something that we're all very aware of, and we know it, we appreciate it, and we want to celebrate it. And that's why, since we are talking about the fest, we have a special stream dedicated to the multilingual and the wonderful varied languages that Asia has to offer. What is a birthday party without a happy birthday song?
So let's try together, yeah. Tanzo biomedeta shangri kwailu Janmaden Mubarak, happy birthday feast. Once upon a nale, Roger Sheila Jiva. Once upon a nale, Roger Sheila Jiva. Vandanga together, Uru watch a feast da. Na 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 na. Shangle Chukaham Nida Salamat, Hari Jadi Salamat, Ulang Tuhan, happy birthday feast. Kadavul sent Kripa, Yare, God sent Kripa, Ava back Bonapa, Kadavul sent Kripa, Ava back Bonapa, on behalf of Elaru, Nalu Perikun, thank you. Don Gun Kutlos and Maligai and Caravan Pirandanal Vartikal Happy Birthday Feast Happy Birthday Feast Dance Obio Medeta Shangri Quailu Janmadan Mubarak Shangal Chukaham Nida Salamat Hari Jadi Salamat Ulang Tuhan Don Gun Kutlos and Maligai and Caravan Pirandanal Vartikal Happy Birthday Feast.
Oh, wow.
That is awesome, Ambu. That is awesome. Please forgive me. I did not know that you were going to do this for us, and I am blown away. And I'm sure everyone is. How many languages were you singing in Dali?
First of all, there were 10 languages in that song, of which I'm confident about my pronunciation of only one language, that is my mother tongue. So all the remaining language, I did reach out to Feast members for corrections, but still, if I had mispronounced it, please bear with me. And with that, I would like to share something that Roger had asked me to share. Before that, what feast means to me. Feast helped me actually, it made me realize myself. Lot of self-realizations, which I never knew that I could do things I was able to do only because of feast. A big thanks to that. Okay, MTL, the magical word, which has become the acronym, which has become a part of our lives for the past few months, thanks to you know who. So, wherever we go, whatever we do, this is our identity. The identity which would have, we would have got that from any kind of entity, but we listen to it first from our mother's tongue, the mother tongue. Something which is very special, but something which has been taken for granted. Here a mother tongue is here, a mother tongue is everywhere. Only when it comes out, it morphs into something else. Other languages we learn, mother tongue we conceive, we breathe. Our mother tongue is our identity is in that. So, such a bold, thoughtful, and beautiful, in fact, a risky initiative by Feast to embrace and celebrate so many languages that are spoken by all its members. That is this magical acronym MTL, the multilingual stream for you. For the Feast Fest 2021, fresh from the, not the oven, fresh from the fields, fresh, oh fresh. Okay, as a speaker, as a non-speaker, what do I have for me in this multilingual stream? I had the same doubt when I started with this. I was like, what is this? I hardly understand any other language. How will I be able to understand all these stories? But let me tell you, to enjoy a delicacy, do we need to know the recipe? Do we need to know the ingredients? Do we need to know where it comes from? As long as we have the mind to try that out and taste buds that are not COVID affected, we'll be able to enjoy anything and everything. Isn't that? Let me tell you, this multilingual stream is going to be delicious. Let us feast on it together. And thanks to Feast for this multi-cuisine treat. And with that, happy birthday, Feast. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you, Ambu. That's awesome.
You know, the more that Fest has grown and developed, the more it's come to me to really represent everything that what Feast is about and what we're trying to do. And in a way, it's a present that we are giving ourselves to celebrate our third birthday. We were talking with Priti just yesterday at our weekly meeting, and she mentioned some work that she was doing for a non-profit organization that is based in Noida, New Delhi, with these teenagers who are at risk or are in conflict with the law. And she said she would love to share the stories from the fest with them. And we thought, well, this is a great idea. We'd love to support that. Feast should also be doing some community service outreach. And therefore, I'm putting out tonight a call to you. If you have a non-profit organization that you work with or that you'd like to work with, that you think would benefit from being able to share with its beneficiaries. Some shows from the fest, we invite you to get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to try and sort out some kind of pass to enable that institution, organization, home, whatever it is, to be able to access the fest as our way of giving back to your community. So now, one of the things which has been a theme really throughout of what FEAST has been trying to do is to help people, develop people, give them opportunities, further their skills. And this year, we've had a number of mentorships that are either underway or about to start, one of which is actually going to be showcased in the fest, isn't it? It's our mentees. We have 5 mentees working with 5 more experienced members. And I'm delighted that my good friend Cem, who is in Istanbul, is one of that. He is lucky to be working with Jiva. So tell us, Cem, what's the experience? What's it like being a mentee?
Hi, everyone. Happy birthday to Feast. Also, Ritu, happy birthday to you. So I just met the Feast 14 months ago. It's very new. I met a very interesting person, Sue Hollingsworth, who just left us a few moments ago in England. She is the author of the Storyteller's Way, my best book of storytelling, favorite. So I Googled her name and found out that she's a member, or she attended a festival of the Feast 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't know. So I was wondering what the Feast was all about, and just came in, and there was an open invitation last year for Story Swap. I attended. I checked the 10 statements of the objectives which are in the website. So I'm coming from business, and I know if I see those statements, visions, etc., they are all bullshit, you know. Okay, so sorry to say, but I thought that, okay, these are very strong statements here, 10 statements from an organization with the aim of which is storytelling. But now, since then, I have attended 7 webinars, 6 events. I went through mentorship programs. As you said, I've been selected 2 times as in a mentorship programs. One peer coaching, the other one this one, and you know, I must confess that the Feast is something else. It's great. I met you, and you offered me to take part in the international MSN event as and playing the dunk beetle. So it's a turnaround for me, because maybe nobody everyone refused to be a dunk. So I was there, and then I work with Jiva, who is an excellent teacher for me. We are now still progressing and working on the show. It's great, but you know, the first time I inspired, and it is from Sheila, because the first time I told my story in the Story Swap, I got a lot of positive feedbacks, and Sheila is great. She is always supporting me, and that's why I'm here. Thanks to Sheila, the first comments, positive ones. So all of you, all the mentors, and everybody I met, they are wonderful people. But you know, I would like to change the name of this feast. Take this E out. It's fast. Okay, everything is developing fast for me, very fast, and it is also even true for your organization. You know, this platter, story walk, the webinars, panels, a feast. Now the posters yesterday are ready. So exciting. I never seen such a great work from all of you, and so thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Well,
Being there, telling the first opening story of the feast with one Japanese and Malay colleague, and then taking part with you, sharing the stage with you for Nasreddin. It's amazing. And of course, being one of these 5 mentees, uh, thank you very much for this opportunity and a great feast for everybody.
thanks very much, Cem. And I have some really good news for you, because while you were talking, Aryo has said he was so impressed, he's going to extend an invitation to you to the Indonesian festival. So there you are. Okay, start saving
Great.
your Turkish lira or whatever it is. Okay. It'll be great to connect with you. And yes, and thank you. I'm glad you plugged the Nasruddin, because if I was to plug Nasruddin and say that we were performing Nasruddin Comic Tales, that might be a bit inappropriate, for me to keep mentioning Nasruddin. So thanks very much for doing that. Indeed, we've talked about the international connections, and I know COVID has been an absolute disaster for so many of us in terms of the work that we might be doing with live audiences, but we have been able to reach out and make friends from all around the world. So, Annabelle, I think you are one of the furthest away, certainly from Singapore.
Hi, Roger.
Hi, Annabelle. Annabelle Castaño in Buenos Aires.
Thank you for the invitation. And yes, I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina, here in South America. And yeah, I had actually only read about Feast on social media. I had not known anyone. And well, it's South America. It's very far away from Asia. I never thought that I would be able to meet someone. And then COVID happened. And in spite of all the negative things that it brought, for me, it was a silver lining. Lockdown had started here in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, the same week as Feast's 2020 World Storytelling Day Story Swap. And here, activities were being canceled. Well, you know about it. Everything was on hold, uncertainty, fear. And when I attended the swap, I met a very warm and talented community of storytellers, of colleagues. And something happened because living the experience, the virtual experience, which I did not have faith on, virtuality, it's not the same as being face-to-face. But nevertheless, something happened in these square screens because it brought back to memory the magic of storytelling, that stories give us hope, that they give us strength, that they remind us that we are resilient, and also, it was the best excuse to find new friends. So I wanted to share some words in Spanish from a typical way of telling, which is not my typical way, but I thought it was very appropriate because it speaks about friendship. And it says, transitando este camino en busca de la verdad, nos revela la amistad, un sentimiento genuino. Atahualpa, un peregrino que calzó la bota de potro, cambió el yo por el nosotros y expresó sin egoísmo, un amigo es uno mismo metido en la piel del otro. Which, roughly translated, those two last sentences would mean a friend is to find oneself under the skin of the other person, in the best positive way. So I hope that at one point in the future, I'll be able to be face to face, seeing you, this whole huge, wonderful community, not only in the square screen, but besides, seeing that you have legs, for instance, and arms, those things, and finding myself under your skin as you will be under my skin. Again, in the best way and not in the angriest sense of the way, which sometimes happens with the lost in translation. But thank you for being here and for, as Sam had said, being so fast and creative and opening this door to find this real silver lining. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Annabelle. Thank you so much. There are two more things that there's one thing that Annabelle reminds me of. Annabelle, we loved the seminar that that we did recently with the panel discussion, and that led to another mentorship that is still underway. So those of you that we have quite a few people who have applied for it, and there is one more, just one more. We have one more of our mentors here for the special needs program, who's Nancy Leppard. Nancy, give everybody a wave.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm so glad to be here, and I want to thank Roger and Sheila and Krupa for all the opportunities, and I'm so glad that I got to meet Charlie, Uma, as well as Megan. Ambujavalli, your singing was beautiful. I caught Shengri Kuai very, very clearly. And yeah, I'm just so glad to be part of this community. I really want to thank everyone for being so supportive.
Thank you, Nancy. We all love you. There's also Selena. Selena, you are here. So we were talking about some of our international members. And Selena, I know you're here. She's been very helpful, very active. So please.
So first of all, thank you and happy birthday, bon anniversaire, and in Hebrew, Yom Huledet Sameach, so my 3 languages. And oh my gosh, this has been the most incredible opportunity to become a member, which I just recently became after spending a year. I'm also a member of Storytellers of Canada, but what I find so incredible about Feast is everything that you offer to so many, and the youth, the young people that you bring, welcome into your organization. You're inspirational. I wish you many, many years of success. And something that we say is ad mea ve'esrim, so until 120 years, you should live long, you should prosper, you should continue to grow from strength to strength. I really love
Selena,
all that you do,
I just
and I'm
wanted
so
to
thrilled that
say
you welcome me to this community.
2 of the stories
So
that you've
thank you.
told stand out. The first one, of course, that I hope won't apply, but I'm afraid, I guess, way down the line might, because you told the story of Solomon and his ring, that this too shall pass. So let us hope that that doesn't happen to Feast for a long time. And as people have said, we've always been very welcoming, and we've kept the door open. But as you told us so beautifully in your rather racy story about your mother's bedroom door, that is not always a wise thing to do. But fortunately, this is Feast, and there's nothing going on behind closed doors. That means that anyone shouldn't come through the door.
I've actually told 3 stories on this platform since the very beginning, and I think I was invited either through Sheila or
Probably.
through
She knows everyone.
Shaila. I don't remember, but honestly, it's been great, and the people we've met and the connections, and maybe I'll get to meet you all in person someday.
We hope so. We really do. Hey, I'm going to play you out with. We started with the song. I'm going to play you out with the song.
Celebration. Time will tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. It's a feast. It's a fest. Story celebration. Time will tell you stories that are distinctly Asian. It's a feast. It's a fest. Story celebration.